47 bottles of wine in a single calendar month, my family would hold a formal intervention. There'd be chairs, there would be pamphlets, someone would probably make a casserole. My husband would be sitting across from me with a clipboard like he's been preparing for this moment his entire life. Stacy, we're worried about you. The children would be crying. A social worker will be Googling whether wine-based interior design is an actual diagnosis. But I buy 47 books? Nobody says anything. I bought so many books last month that Amazon stopped sending me delivery notifications and just started sending condolences. My husband walks past the kitchen and saw a mountain of cardboard boxes stacked against the wall. He looked at them. He looked at me and said, "Oh, good. She's getting into reading." No, Michael, she is not getting into reading. She is financially irresponsible with a library card. She is developing high-density commercial real estate on her nightstand. That is not a hobby. That is zoning. At what point does being a reader stop being a cute, cozy personality trait and become a diagnosable lifestyle? Because I passed cute little hobby about $600 ago, and nobody has stopped me. Nobody intervened. Nobody said, "Man, you already owned 38 unread books." Instead, society said, "Have you seen this special edition with sprayed edges?" And I said, "Get behind me, Satan." Then I bought it. So today, we are filing an incident report. So grab your coffee, hide your credit card, and if you have a TBR pile within reach, don't make eye contact with it. Guys, welcome back to Litdulterous Whore, the podcast for people who cheat on their TBRs, abandon books halfway through because another book looked hotter, and consider "I bought it because the cover was pretty" a completely legitimate literary argument. I'm your host, Stacey. I'm also the book mother Schmucker, so don't forget to be looking for my stand-up. And today we are discussing something very, very serious. At what point does reading stop being a hobby and become a social crime? Yes, we're going there. Because readers have somehow pulled off the greatest psychological PR campaign in human history. We have convinced society that buying paper rectangles is virtuous. We don't procrastinate. We're taking time for ourselves. We don't ignore our responsibilities. We're escaping into another world. We don't have a shopping problem. We're supporting authors. We don't have 400 unread books collecting dust. We have options. That's all a TBR is. A very long laundry list of options. You don't have a drinking problem because you have 400 bottles of wine. You have options. Well, actually, no. Nobody would let you get away with that one. But when it comes to books, for some reason, books get diplomatic immunity. I can literally sit on my couch in sweatpants, eating dry cereal directly out of the box, reading about a 500-year-old fake prince who owns a sex dungeon, and somebody will walk past and say, "Ah, Mum's reading." No, Mum is not reading. Mum has fled the country without leaving the couch. This is basically witness protection. I am currently unavailable to the government. I literally do not speak Earth right now. Now let's talk about this whole reading is self-care thing. Because technically, yeah, okay, reading can absolutely be self-care. But let's not lie to ourselves. Sometimes reading is self-care. Sometimes reading is avoidance while wearing glasses. Real self-care is supposed to improve your life, You drink water, you exercise, you meditate, you go outside, you organize your finances, you file your taxes. When you open a book, I'm not trying to improve my life. I'm trying to vacate the premises. A book is a physical do not disturb sign for my face. And society respects it. That's the beauty of it. You cannot just walk up to a woman holding a 600-page hardcover and demand things. It feels aggressive. It feels like a hate crime. You see somebody reading and you think, oh, she's busy. Exactly. That's what I want. Because the second I open a book, my brain activates an emergency defense system. Laundry? Gone. Dishes? Not my problem. Emails? What is email? The appointment I was supposed to make 3 days ago? I don't remember her. My brain goes, we have entered another dimension. Shut all other systems down. And honestly, that's growth. Because if I can't remember what I was supposed to be doing, technically, I'm no longer failing to do it. See? Problem solved. Yesterday, I was reading at the dining room table. My husband walked in and said, Stacey, do you know where the butter is? I didn't move. I didn't even bother to look up. I just whispered, I don't speak earth anymore. He said, it's literally in the refrigerator. And I said, why are you asking me if you know where it is? He was standing in front of the open refrigerator looking at the butter. Now, this is why marriage works. 2 adults, 1 refrigerator, 0 observation skills. Meanwhile, I'm 300 pages deep into a psychological thriller trying to figure out who murdered 6 people in a cabin, and somebody wants me to locate dairy. Priorities. I didn't spend all day waiting for this murderer to reveal himself so I could be interrupted by lactose. Now let's talk about the financial side of this lifestyle. Reader math. Normal people see a $30 book and think, do I have $30 to spend? A reader sees a $30 book and immediately begins performing forensic accounting. Okay, it's $30. That's expensive. But, and let me be clear, there is always a but it's a hardcover. Okay, hardcovers last longer. Do they? Emotionally, physically, not relevant. Then you see the book is on sale. Original price tag, $30. Sales price, $21. My brain immediately liquefies. I didn't spend $21. I saved $9. I'm a financial genius. I have outsmarted capitalism. I am basically Warren Buffett with a Kindle. And then you see it. The most dangerous sentence ever created by the Canadian retail industry. Free shipping on orders over $75. Oh, no dear. Now I have no choice. I am a fiscally responsible adult. I refuse to pay $6.99 for shipping. That is highway robbery. So I have a $21 book in my shopping cart. I now need to spend $54 more to save that $6.99. So I add another book, and then another book, and then a bookmark, and a tote bag, because you need a tote bag to carry the books in, and then a candle that smells like old library and regret. And suddenly, my cart says $114.50. But shipping? Whew, the shipping is free! I won. I beat the system. My bank account is bleeding out behind a dumpster, but who cares? I got free shipping. That's financial literacy. My husband sees the bank statement. Stacey, why did you spend $114 at the bookstore? I look him directly in the eye and say, Michael, I saved $6.99. He just stares at me because he knows. He knows who he's married to. He knows he's married to somebody who can turn a $21 purchase into a $114 hostage situation. And readers have developed an entire legal system around buying books we already own. We walk into a bookstore. You see a beautiful special edition. You pick it up. Somebody says, wait, don't you already own that book? First of all, objection. Second, define owned. Yes, Stacey, it's the same book. No, it is not. The book I own is a paperback. This one has sprayed edges. That is clearly a different species. This one has gold foil. Hello, different book, different cover, completely different book, exclusive bonus chapter you can't read anywhere else. That's a must-have. Author signature, different book. Special end papers, different book. Beautiful map inside, different book. A naked man holding a sword on the cover. That's a completely different book. That is now educational material. And don't ask me whether I needed it. That is not a question. The question is, did seeing it activate a tiny chemical explosion in my little noggin? Yes, it did. Well, hello then. We had to proceed. That is science. You know what makes this worse? When you already own the book digitally, now you have the physical copy of the book. And then you have to have the audiobook and the special edition. At this point, I don't own a book. I own a multimedia franchise. I could sell tickets. Welcome to the Stacey Cinematic Universe. You want to read the story? I've got all 4 formats. Do you want to hear it? I've got that too. You want to physically hold it? Abso-freaking-lutely. You want the version with the sprayed edges? What kind of a question is that? Of course! You want to know why I own all of them. I don't know. That is a question that I don't think any reader is going to answer. Now let's talk about the Kindle. The Kindle is the ultimate accomplice because physical books expose you. You could be sitting in a doctor's waiting room. You could be holding a paperback with a shirtless man on the cover whose abs have their own postal code. Everybody knows. Everybody knows what you're reading. And they're looking at you like, oh, But a Kindle? Oh! A Kindle gives you civilized immunity. You could be sitting in the school pickup line in your 2014 Honda minivan, in your sweatpants, with your iced mocha, hair doing whatever the hell it wants. You look like a woman who knows when garbage day is. Meanwhile, on your screen, chapter 23, a morally questionable billionaire just cornered somebody in the library. And your face has to remain completely neutral because somebody could look over. So you develop the facial expression of a tax accountant. Blank. Professional. Emotionless. Somebody has the audacity to ask you, what are you reading? And you go, it's just a thriller. Which I guess is technically true. Spiritually, it's a lie. A Kindle has allowed generations of women to commit literary crimes in public without consequence. Oh, and then there is reading before bed. The biggest lie we tell ourselves. I'll read one more chapter. Sure, That's how it starts. And then you finish that chapter and your head's going to explode because it's ended on a massive cliffhanger. And your little brain goes, well, obviously we need chapter 18 now. And then chapter 18 also ends on another cliffhanger. And before you know it, it's 11:47. You think, okay, one more, just one more. Then suddenly it's 2 a.m. You are severely dehydrated. Your neck is killing you. Your bladder has been filing formal complaints for the last 2 hours. Your arm has gone completely numb because you've been holding a hardcover above your face. Then you drop the book directly onto your nose. Whack! And you're lying there thinking, yeah, that was worth it. Then you make the mistake of looking at the clock. It's 3:14 a.m. You whisper, tomorrow is going to be a disaster. And then tomorrow night, you do it all again. Because apparently we are not readers. We are repeat offenders. Okay, it's time for the official Reader Crime Report. Because if we're going to be honest, we need to admit what we've done. Crime number 1. Buying a new book immediately after announcing you're on a book buying ban. I'm not going to buy books anymore. 3 minutes later, oh my God, look at this cover. That's not hypocrisy. That's just a relapse. Crime number 2. Putting a book on hold at the library when you already have 37 unread books at home. Why? Because the library has it. And apparently that means I need it immediately. I can't even begin to admit the guilt of doing that one. Crime number 3, reading reviews before reading the book. I'm just going to check what people thought. And then 2 hours later, you're reading a 1-star review from a 2019 book written by a woman named Brenda who hates the protagonist's hairstyle. Well, now you know the ending. Now you know who dies. You know Brenda has strong feelings about the bangs. Yet you haven't even opened chapter 1 yet. Crime number 4. Buying a book because Book Talk told you it would emotionally destroy you. Apparently that is now a selling feature on buying books. Read this if you want to suffer. Sold. Add to cart immediately. Read this if you want to cry for 3 business days. Why is my book not here yet? Read if you want to question your entire existence. How do I pay? We've become recreationally depressed. Crime number 5. Saying you're going to bed early and then starting a new book at 10:45 p.m. This isn't reading. This is self-sabotage. You know damn well you have work tomorrow. You know you have kids. You know you have responsibilities. And yet your brain says, what if we ruin tomorrow? And apparently that sounds like a good time. So we open the book because readers don't make good decisions. We make good stories. There is a massive difference. But honestly, underneath all the ridiculousness, I think that's one of the reasons why we all read. Not because we're trying to look intelligent. Not because we're trying to impress somebody on Goodreads. Well, you know what? Maybe you are. That's just not why I'm here. And not because we need to hit some arbitrary reading goal. We read because real life is bloody exhausting. The house is loud. The news is loud. The laundry never stops multiplying. Your inbox is threatening you. Somebody needs dinner. Someone needs a ride. Somebody needs something you swear you just gave them 5 minutes ago. And sometimes you just need to be somewhere bloody else. A book gives you that. You don't have to pack a suitcase. You don't have to pay for a hotel. You don't have to drive anywhere. You can sit on your couch in your PJs and suddenly you're solving a murder. You're fighting a war. You're falling in love. You're escaping a cold. You're in a haunted house. You're dealing with a morally questionable man who desperately needs therapy. And for a couple of hours, your own life can wait. So if you're listening to this while sitting in your car because you don't want to walk into your house yet, I understand you. If you're staring at a sink full of dishes, the dishes will still be there later. If dinner isn't made yet, people have survived on cereal for millennia. And if someone is asking you where the butter is, they can look with their eyes. You have a book. You are busy. And sometimes self-care isn't a bubble bath. Sometimes it's sitting in your car for 20 minutes listening to an audiobook and pretending you don't have a single responsibility here on planet Earth. Sometimes it's reading until midnight because you needed 2 hours when nobody could reach you. And sometimes it's buying that special edition, for your mental health. So, at what point does becoming a reader become a diagnosable lifestyle? I don't know. But if you've got 400 unread books, you've bought a book while actively reading another book, you've ever said, I need this for my collection, about a book you have never read, if you've paid $75 free shipping, if you've stayed awake until 3 a.m. because of a fictional person, and you've ever hidden a book purchase from someone you live with, I have bad news for you. You're not just a reader. You're one of us. You're a repeat offender. And honestly, I'm not interested in recovery because life is short. The TBR is long and arduous. And that special edition is just not going to buy itself. So if you have enjoyed today's episode, follow, subscribe to the Litdulterous Whore wherever you're listening. Give me a 5-star review. Or you know what? Give me a 3-star review and tell me why. Because honestly, I expect the truth. And tell me this. What is the most ridiculous real life responsibility you have ignored because you were reading? Did dinner burn? Did you ignore a phone call? Did you pretend you didn't hear somebody calling your name? Did you read in the bathroom just to get 5 minutes of blissful peace? I want the evidence. I want those confessions. I want you to admit your crime. And send this episode to that friend who owns 400 unread books and still says, I don't have anything to read. You know exactly who I am talking about. Until next time, keep cheating on your TBR. Keep making financially questionable decisions. And remember, if a book has sprayed edges, gold foil, and a beautiful cover, it isn't a purchase. It's a structural asset. I'm Stacey, and this has been the Litdulterous Whore, and I have absolutely no intention of getting any better because I saw a special edition. I'll be right back. I hope you have the reading week you deserve, readers, and I will catch you next week. Take care.